Generosity is perhaps one of the most wonderful traits we can exhibit. But what happens when this generous spirit becomes mandated or coerced rather than voluntary? Voluntary generosity manifests as the selfless, willing act of sharing our resources with others. It might take the form of donations to help poverty-stricken communities, volunteering time at local shelters, or showing kindness by paying for someone else's meal during hard times, all done willingly and without expectation of reciprocation. This act not only shares practical assistance, but also fosters empathy, compassion, and a sense of unity among individuals. Its beauty lies in its genuine intention to help without obligation, driven purely by an individual's desire to make a difference in others' lives. On the contrary, government-mandated generosity, often implemented through taxes or levies, aims at wealth redistribution. While these initiatives are designed to address socioeconomic disparities and provide support where needed, we must argue whether labeling them as generosity is appropriate, considering participation isn't voluntary but enforced under penalty laws. This approach gives rise to a contentious debate about its moral standing. When compelled under force, generosity loses its essence, transformed instead into an act akin more closely to legalized theft due to the lack of choice made by those contributing towards such causes, not willingly, but fearfully. Government-enforced social programs often become breeding grounds for corruption and waste. These programs' large sums of money create opportunities for misallocating resources and fraudulent activities. Bureaucratic inefficiencies and lack of transparency can lead to funds being siphoned off through corrupt practices or used inefficiently, resulting in limited benefits reaching the intended recipients. Additionally, the complexity and scale of these programs can make them difficult to monitor and audit effectively, allowing corrupt officials to exploit loopholes and engage in nepotism or favoritism. This undermines the program's objectives and erodes public trust in government actors. Consequently, the intended positive impact of social programs is diminished, with funds that could have been used to improve citizens' welfare being wasted or misused. This frequently leads to situations in which social causes continually consume an ever-increasing volume of resources, while the cause it aims to help never seems to progress. Using taxpayer dollars for international charitable causes is also problematic and potentially harmful to societies when it diverts resources away from addressing the needs of its citizens. Allocating public funds to support individuals in other countries can lead to resentment and a sense of neglect among taxpayers who feel their government should prioritize domestic issues such as infrastructure, healthcare, and education. This approach can strain public finances and limit the government's ability to invest in programs that directly benefit its citizens or stifle economic growth by increasing the economy's ever-expanding financial burden. Moreover, international aid is often criticized for its inefficiencies and potential to foster dependency rather than sustainable development. Governments prioritizing international causes over domestic welfare can create a disconnect between citizens and their representatives, eroding trust in public institutions and fueling social and political tensions. While international charitable efforts are well-intentioned, they can undermine societal cohesion when thrust onto the public as a mandatory obligation dictated by government force. While government-enforced charity often stems from noble intentions to alleviate poverty and address social inequities, it rarely leads to positive outcomes. The top-down approach of mandated redistribution can be inefficient and susceptible to corruption, leading to minimal impact on the underlying issues. Instead, fostering an empathetic and generous society where individuals are empowered to produce and share their resources voluntarily is a more effective strategy. Encouraging a culture of personal responsibility and voluntary philanthropy allows individuals to direct their contributions to causes they are passionate about, ensuring that aid is more targeted and meaningful. By protecting the ability of individuals to generate excess resources through innovation and hard work, society can benefit from a more dynamic and responsive approach to addressing social needs. This voluntary system not only enhances the impact of charitable acts, but also strengthens community bonds and promotes a sense of shared responsibility for the well-being of others. This concludes our broadcast. Tune in weekly and subscribe. Remember that your strength lies in reason and your power in resilience. Keep your spirits high and your mind sharp. Until next time, this is Louper signing off. Stay safe, stay strong, and keep the resistance alive. Never forget that the battle for mankind's future is in the hearts and minds of free individuals today. Good night.